You know, in the little town I was raised up in, down in Alabama, sometimes the people that wasn't even your parents in the neighborhood, they'd get on to you and discipline you. They talk to you, tell you not to do that. Can't do that now. Well, you know, certainly couldn't do it back when, I guess it was back in the 90s. It got real bad. You couldn't whip your child for any reason. They were so concerned about the children, they wouldn't let you touch them. They'd take them away from you. That was all the rage back then. Well, I guess it is now. You can't touch them, but you can't whoop them at all. You couldn't use the rod or switch or anything like that. They'd show you all these pictures of somebody just beating up on children, which I don't agree with that. Certainly don't do that. I don't agree with that. I used to have a little switch that I used. Tap them on the ankles. We didn't like that. You spare the rod, you spoil the child, brothers and sisters. Then they come on later on. You can't whoop them, but I believe that's contrived. They don't want you to anything that's for God disciplining a child. They don't want them because they want to get them later and put them in jail. Say they catch them on later, they don't have any sympathy. They just put them on in jail. Somebody never told them right from wrong. Didn't have a parent. Parent was scared to do it anyway, and because they didn't want to go to jail either back then. I guess they still do it today. No, brother, sister. But then they abort. They care so much about the children, and then they abort them by the hundreds of thousands. Uh, the they abort children right in the last semester, but they care so much about them. Hmm. I wonder, are we better off? Yeah, if we did wrong in our neighborhood, somebody else's parents would get on to them. We better mind them, but we get a whipping when we got home. They'd call up and tell our parents, our mother on. They'd communicate back and forth. No, it's not the way it is now. You can't do anything. Tie your hands. Well, anyway, I was just watching the sun move off into the distance down in the country. You got to have a license for everything nowadays. A license to catch the fish, to eat the fish, a license to hunt. That's not freedom. Why is that freedom? I think probably back in the early 1700s when the country was founded, they had these mountain men, and I can just see them right now. They would the church they brought the state church over from Europe. I'm not gonna say which one it was, but they were in government and business, the state church, and I can just see some of them saying, you know what, I'm gonna take off out west here and get away from all this. Whether can I flee from the of course, where can we get away from all this? So they flee out into the wilderness and found out God was out there. His spirit was out there, out in the wilderness. His spirit was out there protecting them. Yeah, I kind of like the mountain men. They didn't like licenses. You got to have a license to hunt. You got to have a license. I guess they'd go out there and camp out with the Indians. Unlike we see on television, I don't believe they was. I don't believe there was that much. The Indians and them were at odds that much, especially if you didn't want uh, I believe they could live and let live. It was later on they got they didn't like it. The white man, when they took the land from them and said you can suck them off in a corner somewhere, and they didn't honor their word. They didn't honor what they said. As long as the grass grows. But then they say, well, I like this land. We shouldn't have gave them this land because there might be some minerals on it. Oh, we shouldn't have gave them this land down here in Florida because all these, well, they stuck them down there. It was mosquito infested. They figured nobody'd ever like it, but then they invented air conditioning. Now everybody wants that, wants the land down there. But anyway, just rambling here again like I always do. A license for this, a license for that. Have you got your license? Are you certified? Have you got all your papers in order? I don't know about you, but as you get older in life, you get tired of all that mess. There's things, there's always something to fill out, always something to they always want some paperwork or some kind of official document. And you just kind of get tired of them. You want to go to a place where they don't ask for that. But we can't flee anywhere right now because it's, everywhere you go, if you get in a boat and you sail off into the wild blue yonder and land at some, you think it's a forsaken beach, Nobody's here except you and God. And here comes somebody, with a clipboard, wanting to fill out papers with a badge on, If you got your license, are your papers in order? People are longing for home. Civilization, or do we call it civilization, but is it civilization? Anyway. Thought I'd talk with everybody today. It's a real pretty day. A real pretty day, not a cloud in the sky. Not a cloud in the sky. They go out in can you imagine the mountain men? They'd be way out in the middle of nowhere, living the life of freedom. Living off of God's great land, the fat of God's great land. Somebody shows up, some game warden shows up and says, you can't have that. You got to have if you got a tag for the ear, they just go along with this, If you got a tag to put on the ear of that buffalo, or do you have a tag for that elk or whatever it is that they're eating, I don't imagine it wasn't until the railroad got there until they started killing off the buffalo, but until the real civilization got there. What we call civilization. What about over in Africa? They're still over there wildebeest and animals, all type of animals that the UK is claimed for their own as a game reserve. I mean, as far as I can see, protein on the hoof for people. As far as I can see, still over there now. Of course, they say they're reserving it for. But I just wonder if they just left them alone. Do you think that they'd all be gone? I don't think so. But now, they got it all, preserved, put over there for them. Oh yeah, get this. Think about this, brothers and sisters. They will shoot a poacher on sight. But what's more important, an animal or a poacher? They won't even give a poacher a fair trial. They'll shoot them on sight. These game wardens. I remember seeing that. I said, well, golly, you might hit some innocent person. They might not be after, but if they think you're a poacher, they'll shoot you on sight. Whoever such a person is more valuable than an animal, brothers and sisters, in God's hierarchy. An animal doesn't reach the. They think it does, but it doesn't. You know, God loves His people. See, just wanted to talk, you know, this afternoon. If you got all your papers in order, brothers and sisters, let's say what are the birds' words? Certificate, diploma, license. It's just every little thing. You know, there's a bunch of buzzwords. Y'all, somebody put them in the comment if I forgot some of them. You know, I'm no lawyer and everything, but they've got a little paper, a little certificate. I guess certificate is the one that's used the most, you know, or license, you know, a license to do this, go get permission. But are we really free if we got to ask somebody if we can cook something and eat something, or eat a fish, and they'll put you in jail if it's an inch too short or too long? No, an inch too short, yeah, a half inch too short, $500 fine. Brothers and sisters, this has got out of hand in America. And if there is a reset, I hope it resets good, because we don't. There's no mandatory, no. Schools should be elective, is what I'm trying to say. Any kind of a school that you go to should be elective, and it should be a school where you learn something to do that's worthwhile, in my view. And all the history, no history lessons. No, and I'll tell you something else. And nothing about religion either. That's between you and God. I agree with that part. Nothing about religion, because that's a way of messing something up, putting religion in school. So if I want to learn how to measure off and do some kind of carpentry work, that'll be between me and my God. We don't have to put it in school. That's where all the fussing comes from. But just trying to put out there what I'm saying. Also, in this reset, they should have, in my view, tell them all about the lies about the globe Earth. That ought to be brought in this reset. They need to reset the lies about the supposed moon landing. I'll reset that. And tell all the kids the truth. And let the whole nation live in truth. And God will let them know about His Son, Jesus. Okay, brother and sister? That's what I'm putting out there today. I don't want, not even no state religion either. That's what I'm putting out. I'm saying no state religion and no history. There's no fake history. Leave all that out. If there's a public school system, it should be elective. If the public school does make it through, which I don't even think it needs that. But if it does wind up having one, it ought to be elective. No truancy laws whatsoever. Freedom, brother. More liberty is what I'm saying. The more liberty, the better. What I believe. And but anyway, just wanted to make a little video here. But I want to know if you got your papers in order. I just want you to know I don't. But you never get your papers in order. There's always a law that you're going to break before you get to the coffee maker in the morning and wake up, because they made so many, they can't keep up with them. Big old stacks of books, you know. It tickles me, you know, somebody get caught for jaywalking. And here comes the guy in there with a dolly, one of those hand trucks with a stack of papers to try the case, you know. I don't know where they get all that information. It need that much to try a case for jaywalking. But anyway, let me get out of here. Just a mental exercise this afternoon. And hope we get back with you a little bit later. Peace and love. What's up, boy in Alabama?